Good morning, beautiful people, or if you are on the East Coast, aka the best coast, it is good afternoon, and you guys know what today is, right?
Hump day.
It's hump day, my favorite day. Well, it's not necessarily my favorite. Oh, here we go.
What day is it, Mike?
Okay.
Yeah, hump
Listen,
day.
guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Yeah, I love that camel. Shout out to the goat, well, the camel, whatever. If you guys aren't familiar, as you should be, but if you're not, I'm Ashley Nicole Moss, and I got the guys with me. I got Corey in the cut, I got Woo in the west, I got BC in the back, and Mander Legend, who is a mystery to us all because we will never see him.
Never.
Well, we will see him. Y'all just will never see him. Brandon, again, is not with us today. He is getting better. He's feeling under the weather. So as usual, as we did yesterday, we are sending him love, light, and positivity to get well soon and to rejoin the show. But we got a jam-packed show today. We have Antoine Walker in the building with us, so that's going to be fun. We'll dive into some basketball, NBA talk. We'll have a lot of things to discuss. We have a cool discussion about greatest pure scorers of all time, NBA history pure scorers, and we'll see whose list is better, how they match up. But before we get into any of that, we're going to dive into news of the day. So, Corey, what's popping in the world of news?
Well, I tell you what, there was a lot of drama in the football world yesterday and on Twitter, I must say. And it was between some DBs, some old, some current, some active players, and some vets. So, we got, what I tried to do was capture this thread that I was able to find on Twitter. And, so it started with this. So yesterday, Fowler, what he does every offseason is, with the help of executives, players, scouts, and coaches, he comes up with just, rankings. It'll be positional rankings. They'll do quarterbacks, receivers. Well, they released their DB rankings yesterday. And, you can look at the list here. They had Patrick Surtain up top. Sauce Gardner came in at number 2, and Jalen Ramsey came in at number 3. But if we were to continue on down this thread, Asante Samuel, you see his name there on the lower third. He decided to chime in, right? So you see here, he said, he shared his opinion. He said, the New York media will take your career to another level. Kind of sounded like a sub, right? He says, it's the New York media. The New York media is what they did to, it's the New York media what did, and maybe that's a little typo, that's why I stumbled there. What did Revis do so special? I'll wait, it's documented. Want great cornerbacks? It's documented once. Yeah, man. Asante Samuel got to work on his grammar.
It's documented.
What great cornerbacks did in the stats. And then Sauce Gardner was like, all right, I'm catching strays here. He gave his 2 cents. He said the tweet literally says those were the cornerback rankings by players, executives, scouts, and coaches. I'm trying to figure out why you keep bringing up the New York media. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Oh, they're still going.
Oh, there's more.
Okay.
They're still going. They might be still going as we speak, if we're being honest.
Here we go.
And then Asante Samuel said, basically he says, I'm going to challenge you, right? Let's turn those breakups into interceptions. And Sauce Gardner is like, I can challenge myself. I can do the same thing. I got coaches. I don't need you challenging me. And Asante Samuel said, hey, my bad. I'm just, telling you like it is. It's not me, it's not about me hitting you private. I'm just speaking how I feel. And we can move on because there's a lot to read here. Go ahead to the next one. And then this is where it kind of got interesting, because then Darrelle Revis got involved because, of course, he's a New York Jet great, and he's a cornerback that kind of fell into that, that really the conversation that he's having between him and Sauce Gardner. So this is what Darrelle Revis said. He's, hey, I just landed. Here we go. I really don't know much about this guy. And, of course, he's referring to Asante Samuel. Never was inspired to watch his film, but something does jog my memory. I do remember when we played the Falcons, and with Rex Ryan, made a highlight clip of him being double moved on every single route. I recall Rex saying to the receivers in our weekly team meetings, the game plan was if he lined up across from you, double move him every time. So in practice, our receivers referred to him as the double move king. I never viewed him as more than what he said about him in that scouting report. True story. Then, of course, Asante Samuel, he's already, being messy. So he decided.
Oh, my God.
They went. This is the last one, y'all. But Asante Samuel, of course, replied to him. He said, he could have showed you got beat on more double moves than myself. That's a fact. I don't know how much. I don't know what he said. I don't know much. Go look in the history books. I'm there. What about you? And then, of course, Darrelle Revis tried to end it here. He said, try me again, mother sucker. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. Scouting report on me was a head coach telling his quarterback to be cautious of even throwing it my way. it just hit different, bro. Maybe you should write a letter to the Hall of Fame voters and state your case. So Asante Samuel actually isn't in the Hall of Fame, right? And Darrelle Revis is. But if you do look at Asante Samuel's stats, I mean, I think he's definitely a legend. He's definitely an OG. But what do you think of this whole situation, Ashley? What's up with this drama that they getting themselves into?
I don't care. Like grown men going back and forth. I don't care.
It's a 5-minute conversation, if we're being real, right?
Yeah. I honestly don't care. Like, I have no feelings about it. Y'all have each other's phone numbers. This could have been a group chat. Don't care. Like, we can move on from that. Thank you for that synopsis, that great summary, but don't care.
Yeah, but these guys
couldn't care less.
Yeah. No, but honestly speaking, like, and we've had Asante Samuel's a cool guy, and I think he has the right to share his opinion. But it's just like stay off Instagram, right? Like you said, like you guys have each other's number. Just hit each other up. And I know, I don't know what it is though. I don't know if Asante Samuel is mad about not being in the Hall of Fame, or is he mad that he just, like, what is it? Like I'm trying to figure out why he had the hard feelings against everyone.
Yeah,
who knows?
It also, I'm looking at some of their information here. He was drafted before him. He also has more Super Bowls than him. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's jealousy or nothing like that, but it's like you had a great career as well. So I'm not sure exactly until I actually dig into these stats where this beef is coming from, other than competitiveness.
I mean, listen, I tell you what, like I said, and you know what's crazy? Like I said, this still was going on. Asante Samuel was sure to quote retweet somebody who posted their stats side by side. I mean, you tell me if Asante Samuel deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, in their head-to-heads, Asante Samuel is 4-1, Darrelle Revis 1-4. Asante Samuel has 51 career interceptions. Darrelle Revis has 29. Asante Samuel has 6 career interception touchdowns. Darrelle Revis has 3. And there's not much of a difference between their tackle totals. Only 13 tackles in between? I think he has more forced fumbles.
Moral of the story, guys, we can go ahead and put a bow on this. People are in their feelings.
Yeah.
And they took it to Twitter. The end.
Well, no, really.
Tale as old as time.
Really,
we've seen this before.
No, really what this conversation is about, though, is Sauce Gardner as good as advertised? That's really what this comes down to. Do you think Sauce Gardner is as good as advertised?
And he's saying that New York media is hyping him up the same way they hyped up Darrelle. That's what he's really getting at, I believe.
Well, then take it up with the New York media. Call the New York Post. Call the New York Times. Call SNY, call Pix 11, call Channel 7. Yeah. Like, take it up with them. I don't understand why this is a conversation. He didn't put himself on the list. He didn't rank himself on the list. It was decided for him. He's just reaping the benefits and celebrating, I guess, or, lavishing relishing in wherever he fell on the list. Take it up with him.
You know what this is?
Like, take it up with that. Like, why are you talking to me? I didn't make the list, bro.
Yeah.
Like, take it up with the guy who did it. I don't understand.
It's the classic case of don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah,
right.
That's all it is. At the end of the day.
I got a couple questions.
Like, listen. I know we're in the dog days of summer, but we don't got to do this, guys. Like, we don't have to have this conversation.
I do have a couple legitimate questions, though. Do you think players in bigger markets are at an advantage?
Yes.
As opposed to guys in small.
But
markets?
We've known this from the beginning of time. It's a double-edged sword.
Do you think that's the? Oh no, go ahead.
No, it's a double-edged sword. When you play in the New York media, or when you play in the New York market, rather, or the Los Angeles market, you are elevated to a different standard than you are in Oklahoma. But when you're losing, you're also criticized in a different way than if you would be in Oklahoma. So it's a double-edged sword. It comes with the territory. But we've always known that. We're not reinventing the wheel. It literally has always been that way. I don't know why all of a sudden it's, the New York media is gassing you up. They did it with a bunch of other athletes. They did it with Eli. They did it with Odell. They've done it with, we've seen it. It's happened across the board. They do it in baseball. They do it in basketball. Like, when you are at your best, you get all the accolades. You're on every paper. You're in every sports talk radio conversation, sports talk TV conversation. And then when you are losing, the tomatoes are being thrown at you extra hard. And a lot more of them are coming your way. It's always been the case. Like, we got to, stop trying to make it seem like this is a new thing. It's not.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You gonna add something?
No.
I'll say, yo, BC, can you throw up that very first graphic though with the rankings of the corners? Because I actually wanted to dive into this too a little bit. Let me see that up there again, because I kind of like this list. But you tell me, don't you think Marshawn Lattimore is a little low on that list? Same with Darius Slay. Like, if we're talking about current corners.
I don't read too much into lists because it's not my opinion. Everyone's list is not going to look the same. Like, I am not somebody who oh my God. One thing I have learned working in this industry is everyone's going to have their own list. There are some lists that are just unanimous. There are some lists that no matter who you speak to, they're always going to look somewhat the same. Maybe a couple of rankings may flop and flounder and they may be swapped around, but for the most part, they look the same. And then there are lists where everybody has an opinion. You know what they say about opinions. Everybody has an opinion and everyone's list is going to be different. And if you spend time going back and forth and getting riled up and up in arms about everybody's list, you are going to have a very tough weeks out of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
It is what it is. We all can't be winners on everybody's list. That's okay. One time I didn't make the hot or not list when I was in middle school. That's okay.
How'd you deal with that?
I think I cried in the bathroom.
Oh,
nah, see? So maybe that's what Asante got to do.
But guess what? Those same guys who didn't put me on the not list are in my DMs now. So funny how them tables turn, huh? Guess who's hot or not now, buddy?
Well, at the end of the day, I think Sauce Gardner is a great corner, and I think Asante Samuel deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So I hope everyone ends up happy with this situation. Jeez. All right, yo, moving on. This is for really our fight fans. This is gonna be a fun conversation. We probably won't spend too much time on it because I don't know how into it Ashley may be. But Mark Zuckerberg is training with Israel Adesanya and Alex Volkanovski. Do you see that, man?
Oh my God!
Look, this is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying when it first came out. I like Zuck, man. Do you see this dude? He actually looks like he belongs right in between one of those two guys. And we know those are legends, but look how ripped he looks.
Yeah, that's definitely him standing between two legends.
Yeah.
I don't think Elon looks anything like that.
Nothing like that.
So unless he's going in there with just brute force, I mean, it looks like Mark is actually taking this pretty serious.
I did not expect Mark Zuckerberg to look like that.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's not what I thought he looked like without a shirt on.
Yeah, I'm like, if you ask me, I don't know. It's looking like Elon Musk ain't going to have a chance, y'all.
And
he's getting waxed. Yeah. Like, he's getting waxed.
Yeah. And the fact that he's training with currently, like Volkanovski just got named again the pound for pound best fighter in the world.
He learning something.
Israel is that guy.
Yeah, he's
so it's
great.
like Elon better be coming with it because I don't know who he's training with, but it's not them.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, we know Mark is in the gym. Moving on. Devin Booker, we got a sneak peek at what his Book 1 signature shoe with Nike is going to look like. And if you ask me, they look pretty dope. Ashley, I don't know how you feel about it.
You said dope?
I mean, they kind of look like Black Forces.
I kind of like them. Yeah, what I don't like is that they kind of favor, a lot of shoes that we've already seen Nike kind of produce. But if you asking me if I like it or not, the answer is I like it. Like, I think it looks cool.
No, I would rock it. I'm glad it has colors because it definitely reads Black Air Force energy.
Yeah, it does. It's like the way, because it's kind of cutting off the bottom of the shoe. It really look like an Air Force right now, don't it? Okay, there we go. It looks a little bit more like a basketball shoe now that we can see.
Now, yeah. It did look like
it looked just like an Air Force One.
It looked just like Air Force One.
So yeah, this was this was a sample that we had seen, and I think there's also like an orange a sample where the shoe is all orange, the upper is all orange.
I don't know, I don't know what's up with y'all, but these shoes are horrible.
They horrible? You think
I just called it Black Air Force Energy twice. What do you mean?
I would
okay,
I'm sorry.
Because I
don't know what's up with Corey. But first of all, look how thick the swoosh is.
I kind of like it,
What's wrong with you?
It's not an ugly shoe. With the
gummy sole And the black, like, come on.
No,
like,
we gonna have to.
We're not doing this.
Funny.
These are basic. They're whack. They're not fly. Devin Booker is way too fly with the things that he does on the court. And also, I like his swag. Like, I like the way he dresses. I loved his collaboration with Converse. I thought that was right up his alley. The Converse was dope. Like, it was nice, clean, simplistic, minimalistic, like very much like in line with his particular personal style. I don't know what the hell these are, but he got to send those back to the factory and start over because that's not it.
Yo, yeah, they in the chat killing it. They said, yo, pregnant swoosh looks whack. That's Jeff Moss.
Yeah.
Hey, someone put Kobe's are back, baby. I did kind of say that in the back of my head that they look a little bit like Kobe's, just like the flat nature of them.
Listen,
but
let me ask you a question, Corey. Someone gets you those shoes for a Christmas present. You happy when you open them up?
Yes, because I'm wearing these out on the court. Hopefully they feel good on the foot and they're actually good support in them. Because that's why I'm looking at them as solely. Maybe you're looking at them to like wear with a fit.
No, I'm not looking at it. It doesn't matter. Fit, no fit, they're still
like
ugly.
You on the court? You want to wear those on the court in a basketball game?
Why do I have to succumb to wearing ugly basketball shoes? Like, listen, Kobe's aren't ugly.
And this is why
KD's are dope. Why I gotta wear? Yeah. Why can't I hoop in like fly shoes? Why does it matter?
I mean, we're talking about like the best, like the pinnacle of basketball shoes. We're talking about. I mean, Jordans, they're more casual shoes, but like the KDs are
nice. They're nice looking shoes, though.
Rest in peace to the Nike Kyries, but we're gonna get to Kyrie here in a little bit. But rest in peace to the Nike Kyrie. Those were like the three-headed monsters on Nike, right? Like those were the shoes, but they were starting to become really just hooping shoes. So now I really only look to Nike as just hooping shoes. If you ask me,
they don't even look cozy. Shoes. They look hefty.
They look they'll be light. They look
like they'll be light. They look heavy to me.
My hope is that they actually have good support.
You know what it is? Maybe I don't like them because I don't really like black sneakers.
Is that what it is?
Too.
Maybe that's why I can't resonate with these. Black sneakers, for me, I can't look at a black sneaker and not think of an Air Force One.
Really?
I don't own a pair of all black sneakers. I don't own a pair of like predominantly black sneakers. Like unless they're like designers, like my Rick Owens, like they're black canvas, and the rest is the white laces with the white sole. Yeah. But I can't. Yeah. I don't know. Every time I look at a black sneaker, I just think of like an Air Force.
Really?
I can't get past it.
I forget now, but what was the origin of the black Air Force energy? Why people stopped wearing it?
NBA Youngboy, man.
NBA Youngboy.
Nah, it was way before that. Like,
he changes everything.
Those kids who came to class once every 6 months used to wear black Air Forces.
With that hard crease right across the toe.
No, but honestly, I don't ever remember a period where we looked at people that wore black Air Force Ones as crazy people.
Yeah, no, we always did.
Really?
The kids with black Air Force Ones were like the kids who like used to have those drawstring book bags.
Stop.
With like one drawstring and just like throw it over their shoulder.
Barely in school.
And like would like come into class and like never had a pencil in the bag. Yeah. It was like a bunch of papers, no folder, no binder. Like would just come with the hoodie on and just sit there.
Just spoke trouble into existence.
No, the fact that you said the drawstring with the black forces.
The drawstring book bag with the black forces. That was like the pinnacle.
No, I can't lie. I might have been that kid. I was a smart kid, though. I always had good grades. But
you look like you were that kid.
I had the black forces and I had the drawstring. You couldn't tell me nothing. I had the drawstring. You kind of took me back just now. The drawstring backpack, it was two colors. So if you flipped it, it was navy blue and white. You really taking me back. It was navy blue and white. The navy blue side had a white check. If you want to switch it up, you could switch it to the white side, and it had the navy blue check.
Man, I didn't even.
And I used to rock the Air Force Ones, the black.
What color socks did you wear?
You gotta wear black socks with the black forces, right? You can't wear the white.
That's
socks.
not what I asked you. I said, what color socks did you wear?
Yeah, black.
Oh, okay.
Why? You would adjust me if it was white on black?
Oh,
that's
sure.
weird, right? Yeah, that's like Penn State vibes, Penn State Navy line vibes.
Yeah.
Well, now how about this? Moving on, guys. Kyrie Irving. I said we were gonna get to him shortly. He signed a 5-year endorsement deal with Chinese sportswear brand ANTA. As you know, like I said rest in peace to the Kyrie because he parted ways with Nike, but now he signed a deal with ANTA. And what they're doing too is giving him the role as chief creative officer, and they're giving him the freedom to recruit and sign players and other collaborators to join the brand. And the hope is to kickstart a process to fully distribute here in the U.S. If you're familiar, Jimmy Butler, he signed also to another Chinese company. I can imagine that's probably the approach they'd like to take with Kyrie. Not to say that Kyrie's a bigger name, than Jimmy Butler, but he's obviously established in the shoe game. So think this might be a good move. You like this move for Kyrie, Ashley?
I think it makes sense for him. His relationship with Nike became contentious after a while. I think that the creative freedom for him wasn't there. And Kyrie's all about authenticity and individuality and expressing his creativity. So this gives him an opportunity to do that and also have more of a leadership role within the brand. I think there's a few athletes who are assigned, not necessarily to this company, but like D Wade with Leaning. Is that what it's called?
And I think that's the same company that Jimmy Butler signed to.
Yeah, with Jimmy Butler as well. And I think CJ McCollum's also on that roster. So I think this makes sense for Kyrie. I'm not familiar with the brand. I don't know where are these shoes only online or can you get them in? Nobody gets shoes in stores anyway anymore. So, the
Anta shoe looks pretty good. I just Googled it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the brand, but if anybody listen, I was a big fan of the Kyries. Kyrie knows how to make a good basketball shoe. So if he can bring that same energy to this situation, I feel like it would be a success.
Yeah. Well, hear this. So they're the third largest manufacturer of sporting goods overall behind Nike and Adidas. So they're competitive. Okay. They're very competitive.
And China's a huge market, so.
Yeah, huge market.
China's huge.
Wait, can you say that stat one more time for me?
No, just that they're the third largest manufacturer of sporting goods right behind Nike and Adidas. Even though we've never heard of them, they're pretty big.
We've never heard of them, but think we're such a small portion of the world.
Correct.
Remember,
Correct.
China is huge, Asia is huge. So, and also, they say that if you can create a fan base in Asia, you'll never go broke. You ask T-Mac, ask Allen Iverson, they go over Stephon Marbury, they're gods over there.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard.
So Dwight Howard in Taiwan now. So I think this makes sense for Kyrie, and I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him.
You think Kyrie will be able to get this shoe as popular as he did with the Nike shoe?
No,
just because Nike in America is the gospel. You know what I mean? But I think that this shoe will be more popular overseas.
Yeah, but
it'll expand his global reach.
I think it'd be really cool to see him just grab other athletes too. He could start to see maybe the athletes that haven't been able to land those big Nike deals, maybe those second tier guys that are looking for big shoe deals. Maybe this is the brand that steps in and now takes those players from getting to the point where they can get to Nike and make their shoes.
Yeah.
So
that opens the market up a little bit more and not as monopolized just Nike and Adidas or whoever. And I can actually get a brand. No, I agree with that.
Someone in the chat says Klay Thompson was also signed with them at one point. So.
Oh wow! Is that one point? I wonder what happened with that. Anta?
Maybe the deal just ran out.
Yeah,
no, maybe the deal ran out. He never re-signed. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it.
Or maybe he went back to an American manufacturer. I don't know.
Correct. Yeah.
That could have been it. But now going back to the Devin Book shoe, I'm wondering what we should do because you saying that shoe's ugly, right? And
I personally don't like it. For somebody who has swag like Devin Booker has swag, I'm very disappointed with that shoe.
No, because Jazz, one of our graphic designers, and JP, one of our other producers, right? We had this conversation about the ugliest shoes of all time. I don't think that would. It would be nowhere near.
It's not the ugliest.
The top of the list.
No, it's not the ugliest shoe of all time, but it's pretty ugly.
You said it's pretty ugly.
It's pretty ugly.
Do you remember the Chris Webber shoe that had a rim in it?
A what?
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
What was Chris Webber's shoe had?
You never saw the Chris Webber shoe?
Yeah, I'm looking him up right now. But he said you said it had something in it?
I believe it had a rim, like a spinning rim in it.
It was pretty bad.
Oh, I'm not seeing nothing like that.
No?
A rim?
A spinning rim in it. Yes. What are these called? Oh no. These are the Latrell. These are Latrell Sprewell.
Oh, you're talking about
yes.
Sprewells.
I don't know why
those
I agree with
horrible.
yes.
I don't know why I said Chris Webber.
Wait, and he also had the puffy tongue. It was like a puffy tongue on it also, like the shoe. Yeah, like the inflatable. Yeah,
I want to ask the chat because they were saying too in the same conversation that everybody had the Tai Chis when they were growing up. The N1 Tai Chis. Is anyone familiar with that shoe?
No.
N1 Tai Chis.
N1 Tai Chi. I want to know if anybody in the chat is familiar with the N1 Tai Chi.
Chris Webber had those. What was it? The Wawas? No, the Dadas.
The Dadas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't
Dada,
that what
the
it
brand.
was? Yeah.
Oh, somebody. Yes, I'm seeing Dada actually all in the chat now. What are the Dadas?
Oh,
look
I
like?
see the Tai Chi. Yeah, I did see this on many a courts. I never owned one, but I did see this on many a courts.
Should we do that? Maybe come up with our list of like the ugliest shoes, like the shoes that just flopped. Should we do that, or should we go with the top 5 best shoes?
No, best shoes is easy.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Top 5 ugliest shoes.
The Tai Chi's no, but I remember the Dadas.
Dadas were cool.
The Dada Supremes.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I gotta find.
That was Weber's shoe.
The Dada Supremes.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what was we think? Was leather just expendable back then? Like,
That must have been it. It seemed like every shoe was leather, right?
just heavy on the leather with these shoes.
Do y'all remember Dwayne Wade's old shoe though?
The
one that
original
had like the
Converse
slits in
ones?
them. Yeah, the Converse ones.
Yeah.
I thought those were great. I'm not even gonna say that those were actually ugly. I thought those were great. Somebody said I had K-Swiss, Corey.
K-Swiss were cool.
I did too. I had a pair of K-Swiss.
For ball though?
No, I mean just as casual.
No, like
Oh.
casuals.
I thought
K-Swiss
you
was
meant
cool.
for ball
Penny
then.
had one of the best shoes. T-Mac shoes were pretty ugly.
Agreed.
T-Mac
believe
shoes
that.
were pretty damn ugly.
And unfortunately,
And I'm a T-Mac fan,
I'm a
but
huge T-Mac fan.
T-Mac shoes were gross.
I would say at one point I remember looking at this shoe and thinking like,
These were the
Maybe, and then I
Dadas
just
for
stepped
people
away.
who don't remember. These were the Dadas. Can we get a shot of
yeah,
this?
those-
Hold on.
Yeah, those are not it.
These are the Dadas. Can you see that?
Mm,
Hold
a
on.
little blurry. Yeah, we're gonna get them
We're
right.
gonna zoom this in. Look.
Yeah, those are not it.
Those are the Dadas.
not it.
The Dadas are pretty damn ugly. Yeah. Those are the Dadas.
All right, now this might be a very, very unpopular opinion. I might get crucified for this.
Oh God.
I think Allen Iverson's shoes are pretty ugly, bro.
oh wow,
I think I just I feel like I'm saying what a lot of people want to say too, but like we just got so much respect for Allen
Which
Iverson.
one? The answer? The which one? The answer?
Honestly, I haven't come across an Allen Iverson shoe that I really like.
he ain't wrong, but I see what he's saying. It's like
I
people
wouldn't
caught
say
in the middle.
I wouldn't say they were ugly.
I think we forced it because Allen Iverson is a legend.
Nah, they weren't. They weren't ugly.
Is
Like
that not, I mean, is that not fair to say?
I think it's very fair to say.
they weren't ugly. No. I can't give you that they were ugly. I can't give you
The
that they were
only
ugly.
one was the question. That's
The
the only one
question-
I think I would wear. The other ones look too much leather.
Which
ones
one are
the
you talking
question?
about? The question?
All of them. The question, the answer.
The answer was fire.
The
What?
problem? He said
Nah,
all
the
of them.
answer?
The question, the answer.
Nah, Corey.
man.
I can't.
His logo is fire.
I can't give you the Iversons.
His logo is fire.
I can't let you have that one.
What, the Reebok logo?
Yeah,
The
no,
Grant
the
Hills.
Iverson logo, where it's like the eye with the
Oh,
three in
oh.
it.
Nah,
like those.
you wild for that. The questions were dope. He had ones too, right?
Hey, look from
The AI ones. Wasn't that was a shoe of his also?
Oh, he actually had a lot of shoes. I'm looking at all of them. Yeah, they not doing nothing for
Now
me.
you are bugging. AI had some heat with and it was with Reebok at that.
Wait,
like
I haven't checked the chat. What's the chat saying? Are they Reebok? I'm seeing a lot of fire emojis. Maybe like I
they
said, I was
say
expecting-
that you bugging. Yeah, I remember AI had ones. The ones went crazy.
Y'all think so? yo, is that? Cause I got to be JP handling the page. He said that might be Corey's worst take ever.
Yeah, that's insane. I've never heard that before.
Nah.
Y'all
'cause
don't
look-
remember the Feli Grant Hills?
Oh, Feli
The
Grant Hills.
The Felis?
Yeah.
Feli Grant Hills?
Those was
Feli
classic.
had some sleepers.
Let me
Feli
see
had some
them.
sleepers.
Yeah.
You was talking about Grant Hill as one of the best scorers of all time too, and of course, people stay tuned for our top 5 score because we're gonna have Antoine Walker on to talk about we'll see what his top 5 scores all time. Of course, mine and Ashley's. But didn't you say Grant Hill was like one of the top scorers all time too? BC in the back. Since you want to come and join now.
Yeah, Grant Hill was
But we
nasty.
talking sneakers. Don't try to throw him under the bus.
But let
Grant
me
Hill
see
was
the.
nasty. He got cut short with an injury, but Grant Hill
Yeah.
was one of those guys though. Like
No, he
I
was.
think people forget.
No, he was.
A lot of people forget BC. He was like the next Jordan at one point.
Was he?
And that ankle injury just completely destroyed his career.
AI did have the red suede ones. The
Red
red
suede?
suede questions. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the red suede, were freaking dope.
Red suede.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They
Well,
were like red toe. It was like a red toe suede, or the whole shoe was red suede. I don't remember which one it was. It was the question though. It was either was it the toe or the whole shoe?
The whole shoe was.
The whole shoe was red suede. Yeah, that shoe was fire.
I mean, maybe because it was all red, but you know.
Nah, I'm not gonna let you disrespect AI's shoe line. AI had some heat. AI had some heat.
I don't know. They would never put on.
And his commercials work hard.
Yeah, well, I give him that. His commercials were definitely hard.
The whole hood was wearing AI shoes. Like
I think it was because it was AI. Though.
Nah, the hood don't put nothing on if it's not fly.
I'm in agreement with Corey on that. I think they lean more towards basketball shoes, but because of his legend, people was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wear these with jeans."
When was the last time you saw someone in the hood wearing LeBrons?
Yeah, but I can ask that.
It was because AI's shoe line was versatile. You could wear them to hoop and you could wear them to hit the club. Like they were fly.
I don't know about that.
Are you for real right now?
I'm not wearing those to the club. Is that Antoine?
I'm wearing them, but it's only because of the strength of Allen.
Nah.
Antoine.
He said, "Ash, you wrong."
Yeah,
maybe not like club,
right now,
maybe not Club Live, but like club in the hood. You could wear them
question
too.
reds to the Club Live.
No AIs in the club.
Not like a fancy club, but like a hood club.
Dang, you see what the depth you
And
have
remember,
to go to.
people dressed differently back then. So you had baggy jeans and stuff. So they sat over the shoe just right. It wasn't like guys are wearing fitted jeans now. That would look crazy.
Honestly,
but back then the style was different. So like the baggy jeans, the baggy shirt with AI shoes on, like guys were wearing that.
Imagine AI questions with tapered jeans.
Yeah, that would look crazy. But back then, remember, they were dressing different. They had the oversized jerseys, and you would see guys rocking AI jerseys with the shoes. Like, they looked like people were wearing it.
Listen, the only times a guy's going to wear some Iversons right now with the fit is if it's Halloween and they're trying to
and they got like,
because
they got
because the style's different, but don't get it twisted. The whole hood was wearing Reeboks because of AI.
No,
20 years ago,
I can't disagree with that, but like, I don't know. Hey, can we see Antoine? Antoine, I know.
We got to get his opinion.
I know you hopped in this conversation, on the AI shoe. 'Cause, we were just talking about Devin Booker. He's getting his new signature shoe. That's scheduled to release hopefully maybe in the holiday season of 2023, but it's set to release maybe in early 2024. And we was talking about Kyrie, signing with his a deal with ANTA. It was a Chinese sportswear brand. But then they got into like, because Ashley said she wasn't a big fan of the Devin Booker shoe, so it kind of got into like, all right. Who other signature shoe was kind of lacking? And I said, I'm gonna give that my unpopular opinion. And Allen Iverson's shoes weren't the greatest, so I don't know. I mean, how'd you feel about AIs?
I wouldn't wear them.
Yeah, but all respect to Allen Iverson, right? Like,
oh yeah, no question. I mean, Allen Iverson knows all the respect. I wouldn't wear them at all.
He said at all.
Especially not with no outfit. Those shoes weren't made for like outfits.
We're not talking about now, though, Antoine. Back in the day, people were wearing them with outfits. Style was different back then. I'm not talking about now. I wouldn't expect anybody to wear them now. That's crazy.
I got me and Allen Iverson in the same draft class.
Right.
I noticed. I'm not.
They were wearing them back in the day.
I was here throughout the whole journey.
Yeah. I was here through the whole thing.
Okay, well, maybe you weren't, but people were wearing them back in the day. Maybe Antoine wasn't.
Well, first of all, it's not to toot my own horn. I was Adidas guy. Let's get this straight. I had my own shoe.
Oh,
so I didn't have to wear Allen Iverson. No.
Major flex right
there. Okay,
that's
a flex.
Major flex right
Respect
there.
That.
It's a small. Ash, I know I'm like, you might think I'm a little Willie. When I came out though, like I got a real big shoe deal.
Mm-hmm.
But would you say, okay, you may not have
deal with Adidas.
You had the Adidas, and then he had Reebok. Right. But would you say, when we're talking about worst shoes ever, I mean, I think of like Shaq, I think of the Dadas, I think of Tima. Would you wouldn't put Iverson in that category? Those shoes weren't in that category.
No. This shoe was nice, but I wouldn't put it as. I think everybody used to think Iverson's shoe wasn't like for clothes. Like you won't put them with outfits. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that nice now.
Yeah.
Shoot, I guess a lot of people ain't get that message because
given Corey's point though is that they weren't that nice, but dudes respected them enough to wear them to the club.
They were not. I don't know. I'm not going to give y'all that they weren't nice. They were nice shoes.
They were mid.
I feel going out though.
They were mid. Like middle tier. I think it's just mid. Like they're middle tier shoes, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where mid originated from, just being.
I don't know.
Tier.
In New York, everyone was wearing Iversons. I don't know what y'all talking about.
All right, hey, Antoine, it's time to do our top 5 scorers of all time. I've really been looking forward to this. I'm thinking about having Ashley go first. Ashley, do you wanna do the honors of cracking this off?
We want to just go through the list, sure.
Yeah, let's go through the list. But then, of course, you gotta give some justification as to where guys are placed on this, because this is in order. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You gotta justify
let
why
Antoine
each
go
player
first.
was.
He's our guest.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
We're gonna give. Oh man, I don't know. They already displayed yours. So
that's okay. Just take it off the screen.
All right, Antoine, we're gonna go with yours first, boss. How about you? Yeah, go through yours. Go through why you had, who had 1, who had 2, 3, 4, and 5, so on and so forth.
Well, that's simple. First, obviously, I got the greatest score ever, and obviously Michael Jordan. I don't think nobody's going to argue that on who's going to be the greatest. Then, obviously, I got Kobe Bryant. This guy, I've obviously been in the same draft class with him, and just seeing his ability to score the basketball was just like Michael and did it in all 3 facets. So that's my guy. And then Larry Bird is 3. A lot of people may wonder why I picked Larry Bird, but Larry Bird was an unbelievable scorer. Just go through the film, look back, look at his career numbers, look at the stats, look at the efficiency and the way he scored from the 3 and the 2-point line, and obviously the free throw line. Just one of the greatest scores. And then I had to put AI just because, his size, we may not never see it again. A guy his size to have that type of ability to score the basketball. So, and, playing against AI and seeing him do it with 6'3", 6'4" guys guarding him, it's something special to see. So I got AI 4. And then we got to put Wilt Chamberlain in there. Obviously, the numbers speak for itself for Wilt. So that's my top 5 of all time. Then you can start to, I know a lot of people may think LeBron, because obviously he had the scoring title. LeBron's probably 6 or 7. Trying to think of another guy we got to put in there, but LeBron's probably 6 right behind this list right here for me.
All right. You got any initial reactions or thoughts on it?
I went a completely different route. I didn't put any of the older guys, well, minus Jordan, on my situation. Wilt Chamberlain, I hear it, but I also feel like we've seen so many pure, just incredible scorers since him that I don't know if having him on the top 5 anymore even is. It's historically accurate. I just don't even know if it's something that is even fair at this point. Like it's no different than how I feel when he is in someone's top 5 of players of all time. Like we have seen so much happen since then that I feel like if someone's got to move, like Wilt, like I don't even have footage of that 100-point game. How do I know what actually happened? I'm just kidding. But like for me, we've seen so much since then that he's not in my top 5. Larry, I'm not mad at the Larry Bird one. Yeah, I don't have him in my top 5. I had him right outside of it just because of, again, how much we have seen since then. There are guys that I put in that situation, in that position before I even come to Larry Bird. That's not taking him out of the top 10 at all. But when we talk top 5, my list looks a little bit different. Yeah. And I'm with you on the Wilt one. Antoine, honest question, though. Do you think Wilt would have been the dominant scorer he was across all eras? Do you think he's a guy that would have fit in this era as well? Or do you think defenses would have been able to, to shut him down, you'd say?
He couldn't, probably not in this era now because the big men here are so skilled. So he wouldn't have the advantage, and you got some bigger guys. So, with foul trouble and stuff like that. So it may have been a little different. But it's not, we always can argue what was the rules, how was the rules going to be played, how was the game going to be played, was it physical, was it going to be hand checking, was it not, all those things. I just think when you look at his numbers and you start talking about 100 points and 70s and 80s, we gotta pay homage to that. We're not going to see nobody else. We saw guys have huge nights, but we've never seen guys have as many huge nights as him. So I'm going to give respect to that, and I'm not going to downplay that at all. That's why I put Wilt in there. Them numbers are unbelievable, some of the games that he had. And you can even tack on rebounds in that too as well. Yeah. He had some huge numbers. I know it's different. He probably only had 6 or 7 teams that was in the league at that time. It was totally different. But, you got to give respect when respect is due.
I'm trying to tell you because it's still unfathomable to me, right, that he averaged 50 points per game throughout an entire season.
Allegedly.
I don't
Just
care.
kidding. I'm
I don't care
I'm
what
kidding.
era. I don't care what era you're in. Like this is how I had to put it in perspective, Antoine. Like this dude was averaging more points than you could minutes in a game. That's crazy. It's only 48 minutes in a game.
Allegedly.
You play the whole game, he averaging more points. He averaging more points than minutes minutes played in the game.
Where's the film, Corey? Where's the film?
They got film of him,
Run
in
the
70s,
film. I need the film. I ain't buying it. Not buying it. Where's the footage?
I need that 60s film.
I need to see the record books.
Yeah.
Where's the scoreboard? Where's the scorekeeping? Where's the bookkeeping?
What was his shot?
We got records of everything else, but we ain't got records of that.
What was his signature, Antoine? Because I know, like,
I'm totally kidding, by the way. Before people come at me, I'm totally kidding.
What was Wilt's bag, though?
Just big. I mean, if you look at the footage that we do get to see, it's a lot of it's against Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I think his size is big. Being able to finish around the basket. I mean, those guys really stayed around the basket. You're talking about 65, 70% field goal percentage. Those guys did. So I think that's why they was able to do it. And the size. I mean, it just wasn't guys big enough to guard him or to guard those guys of the size. Well, I mean, Bill wasn't a scorer. Bill was more of a defender and blocking shots and taking things away from the basket. But Wilt, could nobody stop him down there? I mean, we wasn't a lot of big guys that really could body him, force him away from the basket. And those guys, you got to think, they never shot threes back then. They didn't play outside their game.
Yeah.
They didn't go out like we got big men now that handle the basketball, shoot threes, and do all these other things. So it's really possible if you stay around the basket and you shoot 65, 70% from the field and you touching the ball, every time down the court,
right,
you can put up the numbers that Will did.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put that in perspective, too. You got to think about that.
Yeah.
These guys ain't leaving from the inside. They wasn't shooting threes. They wasn't dribbling. Everything was right around the basket.
Yep, right in the paint.
I got to say this. This is a wild stat. So the same year he averaged 50 points is when he did the 100.
Oh, yeah.
100 points. This is how he started off the season. This is game 1, 48 points. Game 2, 57 points. 53 on game 3, 55 on game 4. The 3 games before he got the 100, 67, 65, 61. Like, what is this? I don't understand what how are you getting 180 points in 3 games?
Man amongst boys. In film that I have seen on Wilt Chamberlain, the dude was fast too, bro.
Yeah.
Like he was transitioning.
He was super athletic, for sure.
In a couple strides, he was already on the other side of the court, and that's how he got a lot of his points too. That he's just beating in transition. He's beating everybody down the court, and he's just punching it. All right, 2 more points. All right, next possession, 2 more points. Same thing. He was just running the floor. He was just outrunning everybody. That's another thing. 7-footers that we see nowadays, they weren't even. Some are athletic, some aren't. You get different type of bigs nowadays. He was an athletic one, so he. It makes sense as to why he put up the numbers he did.
By the way, he's playing the entire game. These are 48-minute games.
No, that's what I'm saying. He averaged like 48 points.
Well, there was only 8 teams in the league, so.
Yeah.
And I can imagine his teamates.
Just want to put that, just putting that out there. There were only 8 other teams that
so
7 other teams that he had
weeks.
Yeah, it's a little bit less strain on your body to play 7 teams throughout the course of a season.
Yeah, you kind of get the gist of it halfway through the season. Who you can beat up.
You kind of figure out, the situation maybe a couple months in. So.
That's too funny. But no, I hear
no
you.
shade, just say.
But aside from Will, I think everybody on your list, Antoine. I can't really argue any of them. Larry Bird, I think he could play now. Of course,
Larry Bird would kill now.
Yeah, he would kill now. He really would. Like I would love to see Larry.
He was
Bird
ahead
play
of his time for sure.
Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. You can't go wrong with that list. But yeah, Wilt Chamberlain is he's a I wouldn't say a wild card, but you'll always have people on 2 sides of it. But I got respect for him. Wilt Chamberlain.
You can put some other guys in there, Tracy McGrady, Carmelo Anthony, different guys, Bernard King. It's some guys that, you can add if you want to fight with the Wilt comment and take them out the 5th slot. You could probably bump in there. Some other great scores.
But no, I like it. I like it, though. But all right, Ashley, it's your turn. See
all right.
What you got.
So my list is a little bit more modern, but just like Antoine, I went number 1 with the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Listen, pure scorer, though. Ultimate blend of just athleticism and skill. His jumper was picture perfect. Number 2 had to go Kobe Bryant. I believe he's the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan since Michael Jordan. It is like Michael Jordan 2.0. Just also the mentality of both of those guys. I know that doesn't really play a part when we're talking about pure scorers, but there just wasn't a shot really on that court that they couldn't find a way to hit at some point, at some time. It's just magic. I had to go with Kevin Durant on my list. I mean, he's nearly 7 feet tall, and he possesses the same skill set almost. Many of the similar skills to Kobe Bryant, T-Mac, Larry Bird, but he does it at 7 feet tall. I don't think we will ever see a 7-footer or a damn near 7-footer do what Kevin Durant does. He just moves so smoothly. He shoots so well. He can finish at the rim. He's also capable of hitting shots in a center's face, which is absolutely just, again, unbelievable for somebody of his size, the way he's able to move. I had to go with my guy, Carmelo Anthony. Listen, Carmelo Anthony, I know a lot of people will knock his defensive abilities and whatnot, but when it comes to his scoring skills, I don't think that we have seen a player quite like him, at least not in New York basketball, for a very long time and across the league. I mean, he was a solid rebounder at times, didn't really pass or play defense that much, but one of the best scorers in the NBA for nearly a decade. I don't think anybody can argue that. I mean, he was also extremely clutch. Just one of my all-time favorites. And then for the last one, I had to go with a combination of Allen Iverson and James Harden, because I couldn't give that last spot to one or the other. Allen Iverson, I mean, he led the league in scoring and shots attempted 4 times each. So just put that into perspective. Wasn't the biggest guy either, who's barely 6 feet. Just ultimate gunner. Incredible player, just the way that he was able to just bob and weave out of defenses, also unguardable one-on-one. I think one of the best one-on-one players we've ever seen. I put him up there with Kyrie Irving when it comes to one-on-one. His signature crossover move, I mean, come on. And then also tying with him when it comes to prime James Harden. I don't think that we have seen a scorer quite like him in the NBA. I mean, truly a gifted passer. His isolation scoring skills he emphasizes isolation scoring skills over distributing these days. But I mean, listen, when it comes to that signature step back, when he was at his best doing it, there was nobody better. I just think that when it comes to James Harden, he was arguably one of the most unguardable players in the league at the time. And I think you got to give respect when respect's due. He may not be the same player he once was, but when he was prime James Harden, there was nobody better. So that's my top 5.
Oof. The ISO God.
The ISO God.
Yeah.
Well, can I dissect that a little bit?
Go ahead.
Just a little bit. I can't put Harden in there. I mean, this is why. But Harden played under different rules.
Okay.
You couldn't hand check. But you couldn't hand check.
True.
So that's what benefited Harden. If you watch Harden, he got to the free throw line. You know, it was a time in his career where he was getting to the free throw line 12, 15 times a game because of the hand check rule. So when I think about scores, I'm just thinking about guys that can just get you buckets. I don't put Harden in that category. He's a great scorer. I'm not going to take that away from him. But when I talk about the elite, the top 5, I'm not going to Harden for me a bucket. I'm not going. I'm not going to a guy who needs 20 dribbles to get where he got to go. That's just me. As a basketball guy who played the game, that's just me. I'm not going Harden to give me a bucket.
That's a big part of his game was baiting officials into giving him fouls. I agree with that. But I also can't fault a player for playing in a certain era. I mean, I can't take away that James Harden on isolation is one of the best we've ever seen do it. I mean, I hear what you're saying in terms of a big part of his game is getting to that line and forcing his way to the line, which is why I think we have seen his game fall off a little bit after they've changed the rules. But I think that taking that outside of it, his ability to purely score that basketball was however you want to phrase it, an ultimate talent. And he was one of the best at doing it. I don't know if the era in which he played in and the rules and the things that were allowed and weren't allowed is enough to take away from that, because it's there.
I just think it's a unique style in the way he scored, and the rules benefited his game, and he took full advantage of it. Yeah. But when I think about I couldn't even he's not better than T-Mac at scoring the basketball. So I wouldn't even, it's a multiple of guys that I could really think of. I really put my hat to think of that are better scores than James Harden. James Harden benefited from the rule changes and made himself an unbelievable scorer. I'm not saying that, but great scorers don't have to pound it 15 times. We don't watch great scorers dribble the ball 15, 16, 17 times to get where they got to go. Score. And that's just my complaint with Harden being in the top 5. I'm not saying he's not a great player, not saying he's not a great scorer. But when we talk about top 5, you have to separate it a little bit. You can't, this is like top 5 of all time. He ain't in my all-time list.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Hey, well, listen, I wanted to let you speak because I think I got something for you, Antoine, because James Harden is definitely on my top 5 of all time. So
okay.
I don't know. We ready to get into it, or did you have more comments about Ashley top 5?
No,
I mean, he gonna save his James Harden ones for you because you got him too. So go ahead.
We're going to get into it on James Harden for my top 5. All right, so yeah, go ahead and throw my top 5 up there. So,
I like T-Mac.
So, of course, I got Michael Jordan at number 1. There's no denying that. We got 10 scoring titles. I mean, he had a year where he averaged 37 points per game, practically 40 points per game. In a more modern era, and I understand that was 87. It might have been a little early relative to where we are now, but I think there was some good competitive basketball playing. But, like, why am I even trying to justify my Michael Jordan number 1? It's Michael Jordan. But I got Kevin Durant at number 2, y'all. I got Kevin Durant over Kobe, and this is why I have Kevin Durant over Kobe. For some of the reasons that you had Kevin Durant on your list, Ashley, right? Like, he's a guy, he's 7 foot tall, doing what all of these guards on most of our list are doing, right? He's 7 feet tall. The shot, what's the point? What I'm trying to say?
Apex.
Yeah, just where the ball is getting released point. The release point of his shot is pretty unguardable. But look at these stats. I'm a stat guy. From Kevin Durant's first season in the NBA, he already was averaging 20 points. He averaged 20 points as a rookie. And then for the next 2 years, he increased his points per game by 5. By his third year, he was already averaging 30 points. We're talking about a Kevin Durant in year 3, 1 year in college, young guy. So, and what I want to point out too is that we're in year 14, 15 of KD's career. He's still averaging 30 points. So he was doing it at the beginning of his career. He's doing it at the end of his career. And we just watch KD and watch how he scores. He can score any way that he wants to. And this is also why I put him in front of Kobe Bryant, because I think Kobe Bryant is obviously one of the greatest scorers of all time as well. But KD's true shooting percentage over his career, 61%. Kobe Bryant is at 55% from a career true shooting percentage. So that's why I have KD at number 2. I have Kobe Bryant at number 3. Kobe Bryant, he was the closest thing to Jordan, but I also think, all respect to Kobe Bryant, I think he had a little bit of a chuck in him. You know what I'm saying? I think he was just a volume shooter. He was a really...
Oh, you're not going to disrespect Kobe Bryant on this platform in front of me.
But he was.
We're not about to
Kobe's
do
one of my
this.
favorites. He's one of my favorites of all time. But he was a volume shooter, which is why, in my opinion, I mean, that. But look, career shooting percentage is 61 as opposed to 55. It kind of is what's the word?
Indicative.
There we go.
We're not about to do this.
But yeah,
I'm gonna let you finish. But
he's top
go
3.
ahead.
He's top 3. So Kobe Bryant at 3, and here we go, James Harden. Look, I hear what you were saying. I hear what you're saying, Antoine. That he was a guy, and I figured this was going to come up when we were having this conversation. That he was a guy that knew how to draw the foul. But I think that was an art. There's nobody else that was able to do it like James Harden. He was able to do it with his ball handling ability and his ability to finish at the rim. Guys knew that he was able to finish at the rim, and that's why they was crashing so hard on James Harden. I mean, in my opinion, I think that's a skill. And then we can't ignore the fact that this dude went 32 straight games with 30-plus points in one season. And again, this is a modern era. Like, we talking about their scorers galore. There's nobody else doing that. In prime Houston James Harden, 32 straight games with 30 points. And then in 2018, he averaged 36 points. That was similar to like the point I made about Michael Jordan. I think that's just crazy to me. So I think James Harden, the ISO god, when he was in his prime, he pretty much patented the step back. Everybody does step backs now. They realized how much space you can create. Not to say that the step back wasn't in basketball before then, but James Harden, he really trademarked that. So I got James Harden at 4, and then I got T-Mac, Tracy McGrady. I mean, it was just hard for me because what I was also thinking was, all right, you got guys like Kareem, right? One of the greatest scorers of all time. He had his hook shot. I think that was a guy, he just stuck to what worked and just did it very, efficiently and at a high clip. So But if there was another Kareem out there, that I think there was ways of shutting him down, and centers alike. I think that's why I stayed away really from centers and power forwards, because I think these guards, right, and a guy like T-Mac, I mean, Kobe said it himself. He was a guy that just gave him a lot of trouble throughout his career. And we talking about one of the greatest perimeter locks of all time, and Kobe Bryant. So for him to throw Tracy McGrady out there, I mean, I think that was just some validation there. But yeah, I got T-Mac at 5, y'all.
So before Antoine dumps on your James Harden take like he did mine, I gotta disagree with you with Kobe Bryant and having him below Kevin Durant. I mean, he is the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan, therefore he's 2. But also his offensive bag is deeper, or was deeper, than Kevin Durant's. That's not taking away from KD, but I don't think that you can even bring in volume shooting or lack thereof or excessiveness of volume shoot into this conversation. If you saw Kobe Bryant play, which I know you did, I mean, he did things on the court that we've only ever seen Jordan do, and then some. I don't know if you can go ahead and put that after Kevin Durant. What Kevin Durant is extremely impressive because of his size. We've never seen someone of his size do that before, and also not taking away what he's able to do with the basketball. One of the smoothest scorers I've ever seen, which is why he was on my list, top 3. I just don't know if I would put him above Kobe Bryant. I just feel like it's always Jordan 1, Kobe 2. That's my mindset on that.
So I have a question, I guess, before you chime in, Antoine. What can Kobe do that KD can't?
I feel like Kobe was more elusive with the basketball in terms of the way he bobbed in and out of defenders. I don't think that KD really has that in his bag, and he doesn't have to. He's big. Kobe was, I feel like their jump shots, I would say they both have really pretty jump shots. So I'm not going to say that one's better than the other. They were different. But I just feel like Kobe's ball handling, Kobe's just in motionness was just different than KD's. It was smoother than KD's. And again, not taking away from Kevin Durant, because again, he's in my top 3. I just think if I had to rank them, it's always Kobe over KD. And if I don't know the stat off the top of my head, I could be wrong, but I think Kobe had more wins over Kevin Durant whenever they faced each other. That's like possible. I think that his efficiency rating was higher than Kevin Durant's whenever they faced each other. I just feel like if I'm comparing the two, for me, it's Kobe, KD. But I'm not mad at your list. I'm just saying, for me, it's Kobe, KD.
I think we're distracted.
His footwork was better.
I mean, in my opinion,
it's tight. It's tight.
It's tight.
It's
in my opinion, I think Kobe is just more athletic than KD. You know what I'm saying?
17 by Kevin Durant. It's very close.
But you got to think, too, though. Kevin Durant's 7 feet, so he has to get a lot of credit being a 7-footer.
No, of course. And I started off by saying that, of course.
Yeah, that's what makes Kevin Durant unique. But Kevin Durant, top scorers, it's Kobe all day long.
For sure.
It's not an argument. I understand where Kevin Durant sticks out at and his ability to be 7 feet and handle the basketball and shoot the jump shot is unbelievable. Kobe's obviously more athletic, better post-up game. You know, Kobe worked from the block. Arguably, depending on how you want to say it, I would say Kobe's mid-range game was a little bit better because Kobe's was a mid-range game guy than KD. KD's a better three-point shooter.
Better on the defensive end.
Both of them are great free throw shooters. You know, percentage points probably gave KD the advantage at the free throw line. But so those things that's different. But Kobe Bryant's definitely a better scorer. I think we get mesmerized by KD being 7 feet and being able to do some of the things that he's capable of doing. So I think that's what makes it special right there for KD. That's what we kind of look at. But when you talk about just pure scores, Kobe Bryant, second best ever. Easy.
Is there a reason that you guys just completely left the GOAT off the real GOAT?
The real GOAT? Who the real GOAT?
Come on, bro.
Don't say Paul George.
No, LeBron James.
Oh.
Is there a reason none of you even try?
When it comes to the names that we're naming, I don't think that LeBron is in that conversation.
Just on creating a shot, you're saying?
No, I'm talking about top scores. Even though LeBron, obviously his numbers are up there, and probably if you just go by numbers, he's a top 5 scorer. But I think when you look at pure scores, and if you know the game of basketball, I'm gonna get a bucket. It's gonna be I'm gonna go with these guys first. They're just ultimately great one-on-one players.
Yeah, right.
LeBron affects the game from the triple-double aspect a little bit more than these guys does, if not better than all of them, where he's able to pass, rebound, and do other things on the floor. that kind of separates itself, that makes LeBron James a little bit different. But just pure scores, we're talking about guys that just go get buckets and put it in the basket on any given night. So that's what I think this conversation, when you talk about top 5 scores,
Right.
LeBron's right there. He could be 6, 7, 8, depending. Some guys that's left off this list, they can fit into that.
Antoine, I'm surprised you left yourself
appreciate
off your list, man. What's up?
Top scores?
Yeah, man. What's up, man?
Man, let me see. I'm in the top 25.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Antoine,
top 25.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad you're giving yourself some credit. All right.
No, I'm always giving myself credit. Nobody really could do what I did.
Exactly.
Talk, Antoine, talk.
Talk that stuff.
I can shoot the 3, go off the dribble. I had handle. I mean, I'm in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There you go. Hey, honestly, Ashley, I kind of wanted to get Antoine's thoughts on our start bench cuts from yesterday.
Sure, let's do it.
Antoine, we had 2. Like, you familiar with like start bench cut, right?
Start bench cut. Nah. What's that?
So I'm gonna give you 3 players. And you have to start, bench, or cut these 3 players. So 2 of them you can basically keep on your team, and then the third one you got to cut.
So it's 3 players. Come on.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna do 2 rounds because we did 2 rounds yesterday. So the first round is you got to start, bench, cut Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Anthony Davis.
Wow, that's strong.
Let's see if he. Oh, really? See, I had an easy time with this. I want to see if he does the same thing I did. I had an easy time with this.
I'm trying to see what he picked too.
Yeah. Okay,
I
we got it from yesterday.
I'm starting Jokic.
Okay.
I'm benching AD. I'm
Damn.
cutting Embiid.
Did you say you cutting Embiid?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think nobody
Oh,
cut
yeah,
Embiid
no, that was
yesterday.
me.
You cut Embiid yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, can we get
I don't
some
remember I was
reasoning
saying
there?
on like his team, like the way he puts out into his team after.
That
the
is true. He
losing
said he
stuff.
didn't like his attitude.
Because the consensus, I guess I can't say the consensus.
So mine,
And I'm-
Good
okay,
choice,
we'll give him
Antoine.
ours.
Yeah.
So
Just to clarify, to help people understand, I'm picking AD over Embiid because AD going to give me more defensively. I just think AD's a better defensive player than Embiid.
Really?
So, yeah, I do believe that.
So I had, my list was start Jokic, bench Embiid, cut AD. And then Corey had,
I had start Embiid. I had bench Jokic.
which is insane.
I don't know how it is. You said why?
I said, wow, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, we talking about a dude. He just finished a season where he averaged 32 points. He's coming off an MVP.
And you're going to bench the reigning champ.
In my opinion, he's the best defensively. In my opinion, I think he can guard really. He's not that athletic, but at the same time, I think any position would have a hard time if you got Joel Embiid on you. I mean, maybe there's some point guards that'd be like, nah, this is food. I'm getting to the rim. But Joel Embiid's pretty athletic to me, and he's a pretty good rim protector. Maybe not as good as AD, but if we're talking about complete package as to where they are right now, taking Embiid. I'm definitely taking Embiid. And I can't cut Jokic, so that's why I just benched Jokic, but cut AD.
No.
I don't know, man.
I'm with Antoine, you know what I mean?
It could
We're on the
be.
same page.
He hasn't changed my thoughts. No, not at all. But he's making a valid point. He's fighting. He's in court. He's fighting. He's fighting
know
for
me,
his
man.
fight.
You know me.
There's nothing wrong with that. I like you fighting.
All right.
No,
All right.
I'm still on my list.
Fair enough. I'm taking it from NBA legend. It's all good. All right, this was our second one though. This is where it really got interesting.
Yeah, we got
Start,
advice.
bench, cut Jimmy Butler, Paul George, or Jason Tatum. And for clarity, we are talking about Pacers Paul George.
No, I'm starting Jimmy.
Uh-huh.
No question. I'm starting Jimmy. I'm benching Paul George.
Okay.
I'm going to have to cut Jason Tatum.
There we
Whoa.
go.
Bro, that's my pick.
My man. Well, it wasn't my exact one.
So mine was.
The reason why I'm doing this, though, is strictly based off those guys are two-way players to me.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum is not emerged as a two-way player. Not saying he can't get to that point.
Right.
I just think when you think about two of the best two-way players that the league has had in the last 10 years, has been Jimmy Butler and Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that do it on both ends. That's the only reason why I'm picking those two guys over Jason Tatum, because Tatum hasn't shown to be a two-way player. He's one of the great scorers in this league that we've seen, but he's not yet a two-way player yet. When you think of Jason Tatum, that's not something that comes to your head real quick that he's going to be a lockdown defender.
Right.
When you think about Jimmy Butler and Paul George, you think about their defense as well as their offense immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's just where the separation is at that.
I think that was the best argument right there. That I didn't really look at it that way. That those outside of Tatum, those guys are really good two-way players.
Correct. And I think the chat is like I don't know if they consider only Paul George from now, but like everyone is disagreeing that Paul got to get cut.
They got to
be thinking about that Indiana Pacers Paul George, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Indiana Pacers Paul George was elite. And honestly
but
speaking,
we weren't.
Antoine,
but that wasn't the question, though. We said it wasn't Pacers Paul George.
Well, it was. I should have clarified that because it was the picture we went with. Because it did change your top.
Didn't I ask yesterday?
You did.
I specifically said, are we talking Pacers Paul George or are we talking current Paul George? Because the other guys are pictured in the jerseys that they currently play for. And Corey sat here and said it's current Paul George.
No. Because
you.
really, what I wanted to do was even pick current Paul George. Like I was gonna stand on that. Like I would have even picked current Paul George. Current old. That's how I actually started.
Okay, but you just said it was Pacers Paul George, and now, but yesterday it was current Paul George.
Still cutting Tatum.
That would have changed, but that would have changed my list.
Would it really though?
Yeah,
all right,
Pacers Paul George.
All right, so we got Pacers Paul George. Reconstruct your
No, I'm not reconstructing it now. I already did it yesterday.
Come on, Ash. You thought about it. You had 24 hours.
I already did it yesterday. I'm not about to backtrack on my list now. That looks crazy.
Okay.
Like I was under the impression it was Clippers Paul George.
What was yours? What was yours from yesterday?
Mine was start Tatum, bench Jimmy, cut PG.
Okay, yeah. And Antoine,
But it was Clippers PG. Just want to put that out there for people who didn't watch the show yesterday.
But look, even if we talking
You
about
like Tatum over Jimmy Butler.
nobody,
Ash.
nobody.
Me?
No, just Ashley.
I had Tatum over Jimmy Butler.
Oh, you did,
I had
you did,
starting.
that's right.
I had starting Jason benching Jimmy.
Okay, yeah, right. And I think he's asking what was your reason.
Well,
for
for
that?
me, Jimmy with a second unit would benefit that. I think a lot of times he gets hot later in the game, and I think Jason Tatum's the opposite of that. I think Jason Tatum a lot of the times starts hot, and sometimes as the moment gets bigger, he can sometimes shrink. Also, I think sometimes his shot doesn't go ahead and follow 4 quarters of basketball, whereas Jimmy Butler, his clutch gene comes alive after this first half. So I'm thinking in terms of who would I want my explosiveness of scoring to come from when I would need it the most, and for me, that's Jimmy. Obviously it's a game-to-game scenario, but for me, Jimmy with a second unit, also I'm thinking in terms of would preserve his legs. He is a little bit older. Paul George, love PG, but I do think at times he has been injury prone. Again, Clippers PG is injury prone. That was the only reason I cut him. If it was Pacers PG, my list would look different. Pacers PG, I'm probably cutting Jimmy.
But also, too, though, think about this with Paul George, and I'm not saying he's up there with those guys, but Paul George is playing as a 1B.
For sure.
He's not a 1A, so that takes a difference. The Indiana Paul George was 1A.
My point exactly.
So you have to put that in consideration when you think about Paul George. So don't take anything away from Paul George, but
I'm not.
Role.
Had it been Pacers Paul George, my list would have gone Paul George, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler. I would have started PG, bench Jason, cut Jimmy.
So do you want to retract your statement from
No,
yesterday?
because I did it yesterday. Corey told me the rules were that it was Clippers Paul George.
Yo, but look, this is what I had said yesterday. I don't know why are we sleeping on Paul George of now? Like has he fallen off that much?
Compared to the other players on the list, Clippers Paul George is drastically. If you would have said OKC Paul George, Pacers Paul George, it wouldn't even be a question. But in comparison to Boston Jason Tatum, Miami Heat Jimmy Butler, and Clippers Paul George, for me, it's an easy decision to make.
I don't know. Well, because look, this is my logic. And my understanding of all of this. Because Paul George, to me, if he would have stayed healthy, the Clippers would have made a deep run into the playoffs. And I think we would have been looking at them, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, as a better duo.
You just said it.
Than Jason
if he
Tatum.
Stayed healthy, which was the reason I cut him.
I know, but that Yeah, but a healthy Clippers Paul George, I'm rocking with him. I think he's still capable of what he was.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah, what he was when he was at the Pacers. Even right now, he averaged 23 points last year. So Clippers Paul George, Pacers Paul George. That's why I didn't really want to specify, because Clippers Paul George, Pacers Paul George, I'm taking.
Whatever, Corey, move on.
And I'm keeping Jimmy Butler. I'm gonna mention him, and I'm cutting Jason Tatum. Come on now.
Cutting it, boy.
Hey, you're listening to Paper Route on Sirius XM Faction Talk, channel 103. I'm Corey Holmes. I got Ashley Nicole Moss with me. We got Antoine Walker on the show with us. We got Woo Out West, and we got BC in the booth. And we just finished up our top 5 scorers of all time conversation. Also kind of threw in a little bit of start bench cut. But we're going to move on. We're going to move on, Antoine. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this. The NBA Board of Governors have approved of 2 new gameplay changes for this season. What those are now in-game penalty for flops are resulting in technical foul free throws now, which I think was a great addition to the rules. And they also have a second coach's challenge awarded if the first challenge is successful. I know that was, that had people mad during the season. Because
that first one is a little iffy.
You think so, though?
Why?
The second one I love. The second one I feel like has taken way too long to happen.
Right, it's a matter of time.
They have that in football. So they should have it in basketball. It just makes common sense. The first one, and Antoine, definitely jump in on this, is a little iffy because I feel like you're putting a lot in the ref's hands, like to determine what's a flop and what's not a flop. Now, if it's an egregious flop, like let's say Steph Curry is guarding Embiid. Let's just put that out there, hypothetically speaking. And Steph fouls him and Embiid flops. You know that's not real.
Yeah.
Then he hits the ground, you know he's flopping, right? That's an obvious flop. But for people like Chris Paul, who can play it off really well and usually does it in situations where it's believable, you're putting it in the ref's hands to make a judgment call. And we all see what happens when you allow the refs to make judgment calls. And also, is it a player foul or a team foul? Because, let's say it's a player foul, right? And then and you're trying to argue that you didn't flop. And now you arguing with the ref. Now it's another foul.
Yeah, it's like two.
So what I'm saying, yeah, right. So what kind, say I don't flop, right? And you call a flop. Now I have a foul, and I'm arguing with you because I'm like, I didn't flop. He actually fouled me. Now I get another foul. Yeah. Now I'm out. I'm in a situation. You know what I mean? So
are these flop calls? When the ref sees it and it looks like a flop, are they going to the monitor to look and see if it was a flop?
Right.
Or are they just going off, or is this an eye test off the bat?
But even if they're going to the monitor, let's say they're going to it's still a judgment call on the ref to say whether or not the flop or lack thereof is actually a flop. So it's basically the ref, either way you slice it, the decision's in the ref's hands, a judgment call. I like penalizing for flops. I think that we should do that because flopping has become excessive and egregious in the NBA. It is such a game killer. It's annoying to watch. I hate it. I don't know. I'm a little worrisome about putting in the decision of a referee to determine what's a flop and what's not. It just seems like I'm giving them even more, too much power, even more power than they already have. That's my only weariness about it.
That's interesting because I was kind of on the other side of it. I thought that it was gonna improve the quality of basketball.
I think maybe
because I hate to your point, Ashley. I hate all of the flopping. I think it slows the game down also. But the technical foul free throw though, that's a big. And
remember, a certain amount of technical fouls equals suspension.
Yeah,
I think it's good they putting it in if they feel like. I mean, I don't watch the games and look for all these flopping calls. I guess that's something that this became such a big deal. I do know certain guys that do flop a lot, that do fake. We know those.
We
guys.
know them.
Yeah, right.
We know those guys that do that, but I don't think it's something that should be highlighted like it's been highlighted right now. I don't think it's become that problem. It hasn't changed the NBA championship game. I don't think it's changed the playoff game. Yeah. Now, I may have gave a player a 4th or 5th foul that may have hurt them in the course of the game. But besides that, has it really affected the game that much? When we're making that the league needs to highlight this, I think that's the problem. We're highlighting it and making it like part of the game. So there's some very good defenders out here that know how they put their body in front of people, that take good charges and those things. You're allowing them now to think that that's a part of the game.
Yeah.
So I just think we're putting too much emphasis on it. I think we're making it a big deal. If we've saw several times during the season or during the playoffs where a fake flop is hurt a game or won or lost the game, then of course we should be addressing it. But I don't think it should be a big deal. That's my personal thing. I just think it's a couple players in the league that do it really, really well.
Right.
And that's it. I mean, it's not like it's a collection of everybody it's one person on every team that does it. It's just a couple guys that get away with it that are very good at it. Yeah. I don't think it should be highlighted the way it is.
Antoine, don't they give out fines for flopping after the fact? Or is that still a thing?
That's after the fact, yeah.
So This is my issue with that. I feel like we should continue with the fines or maybe increase the fines to deter people from flopping, players from flopping, because maybe you won't feel it until maybe you won't increase the fine for flopping after the fact.
Yeah.
And maybe if it's egregious enough to affect the course of the game, give the referees the power to overturn or give a player a foul for flopping if it's like so just like over the top and just dramatic. But I feel like giving them the power for every single time they think there's a flop, whether it's actually affecting the game or not, is problematic, and you're going to run into some situations. And I just feel like there's too much gray area for this particular rule.
Yeah, because unfortunately,
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can foresee a situation where it is like the very end of the game. I don't know if this might be a call where like under 2 minutes they can't award the technical foul free throw, but like it's not typically the case. So I could see in some late game situations where a team gets a free point, and that one free point could really determine the outcome of a game. So. I
wish we had the rules. Like they're gonna come in. Like what usually happens when they put big rules in like this, the referees travel to each team during training camp and actually have film and show them what's right, what's wrong, what we're gonna call, how it's gonna be called. I wish we could sit in those meetings and actually see how they're gonna determine this rule. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be something that probably get taken out. I don't think it's gonna last long.
And you said the players are all there too, like they come to the players.
Yeah, they come to training camp, and they're gonna, especially a rule like this that could affect the game. They're gonna be there to show them what's right, what's wrong. They're gonna have plays carved up that show them what's a flop that we're not accepting, a flop that's gonna be cool. They're gonna give them examples of everything that they're gonna be calling during the season, so they're gonna get an opportunity to notice what's going on. Where us as an outside looking in, we're just judging off that and watching the game. You're going to see players doing things that they feel like that's acceptable.
Right.
Because they've been told by referees.
We should just shame floppers and add it to their stat line.
Flops.
You know what I mean? Like points,
that is like an official
rebounds,
average.
assists, flops. like the scarlet letter. Make them add that to their stat line.
Would it be
flops
attempted
is it a plus
to?
Or not? Negative. It's a plus or minus. Is it going to be a plus or minus?
Minus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Minus. What's your average flop?
For sure.
Per
So
game?
Chris Paul's like 27, 8, 45. You know what I mean?
45 flops.
45 flops per season.
That's
Like
too funny.
Embiid, 30, 10, 11, 60.
Hey.
Just shame them, put flops in their stat line. Deter them.
I agree with that. Flop average.
Hey, that'd be funny.
Give out awards, best flopper of the
no.
year.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Could you imagine?
At the ESPYs.
And like the award is just a guy like falling back.
Yeah, the award is just a guy falling backwards. You know how they give out Razzies for like bad acting performances?
Yeah.
They should give out a flopper award, and like when they do the package at the NBA awards and things like that or whatever, it's a package of them and all their flops.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be dope.
And have the fans vote on the best flopper.
Oh my God.
You don't have any MVPs, but you know what you do have? Best flopper of the year.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Right.
Hey, NBA, get ready for that invoice from Ashley, please.
We'll call it the FOTY award, flopper of the year. We should add that in
The
there.
FOTY.
The FOTY.
The FOTY.
The FOTY.
Yeah, see,
For sure.
That sounds disrespectful.
kinda hot, though.
It's fitting.
I'm just saying, we should put it out there.
Yo,
that's
too
all.
Funny. Yo, the NBA, we got a lot of things that the NBA need to implement on this show. But all right, moving on. So this guy's name, it came up a little earlier in the top scorers of all time. But NBA player Will Barton, he was a guest on the Ball Don't Stop podcast. And Antoine, he said that Carmelo Anthony is a top 15 player of all time. We actually got that clip, so we're going to allow the viewers to take a look at it real quick.
Crazy handle, mid-range, shoot it, get to the rim. First step was quick. Like,
that's insane.
Carmelo wanted to, if we going off just eye test of basketball, it ain't 15 guys that I ever seen that was better than him.
And I say this all the time.
It ain't 15 guys that I ever seen that was better than him.
You can't take, and you could take team basketball championships and all that shit. You can't name 15 in the history of the sport. You put them on a basketball court that can do what Carmelo Anthony was doing.
Nah, not night in, night out.
Nah, for that long, 15 years.
Not with that talent, too.
Bully, strong.
Young Melo,
quick.
A bully, but was athletic.
Yeah.
But could shoot inside, outside. Man, come on.
So, Antoine, can you co-sign what he said? He's saying, I mean, this isn't the top 15 scorers maybe of all time, but is he a top 15 player of all time?
No, he's not a top 15 player. Melo's one of the top scorers of all time. If you want to talk about Melo and his career, one of the best scorers to play the game, one of the premier small forwards to be able to do it. But when I start thinking about all time, no, of all at the league ever, no, he's not in that category. He probably, if I had to make a hard list, I mean, he's probably top 50, depending on where you want to rank him. He's probably top 50, but top 15, depending, that's too high. Don't have any championships. Never played in any finals. It's tough for me to put Melo there. As much as I love Melo and love his scoring ability, I thought he was a very unique player in this league. You don't see that guys with mid-range game at his size that can handle and do a lot of things that he does on the court. But top 15 all time, no, I can't put him in that conversation.
Yeah, I agree. And I love Melo. But top 15 is a stretch. I could go top 30.
Top 30?
Top 40.
All right.
You start to get to 30,
in the
40.
Middle, Will Barton,
You start talking
For
about
sure.
what you like. Yeah.
Maybe even, depending on what my list looks like, maybe even like high 20,
High
29, 28, maybe. But top 15, I mean, top 15, you're talking guys with multiple chips. We're talking guys with MVPs. We're talking guys with multiple MVPs. You're talking top 15, you have everybody from Jordan to Bird to Magic to Kareem to Wilt. Now getting into the modern era, you got Steph. You probably have Jokic in there now. Like you have Shaq, you have Hakeem, that right there is at least 10.
Yeah, right,
I only got 5 spots left. So
Exactly.
It's not a knock to Carmelo. As I said, huge Carmelo fan. It's just top 15 is very hard to crack when you don't have any hardware.
And Antoine too. Do you get what Will Barton is saying too when he says like the eye test? Like could you name players maybe that pass the eye test that just aren't respected really? By other players that you'd say, or not even players.
I understand what he's saying. He's saying just what Ash just talked about having the hardware, win the championship, and he obviously won one in college, and we know how great Melo was in college. So I just think when you start in the league, we have to put that in there. When you're able to put the body of work in and win titles, that you have to respect that, and I think that's where the separation comes in at. Now, just being a basketball player, understanding how Melo, I know how tough Melo is. I know how good he is. That's out of question. But when you start ranking players, you have to put in consideration when you're able to win on top of that and still have the individual accolades to go alongside it. There's too many other players that have won championships and have had huge numbers too to go along with it, just like Melo. So you got to put all that into consideration. But it's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a good conversation to have. But all time, that's going to be tough. It's tough to crack that list.
Yeah.
Be 15.
No, I hear
30
you.
maybe.
Yeah, right.
30 could be possible, depending on what you like.
No, I hear you guys. And BC, you could throw that graphic back up there because you know who chimed in on this conversation, Antoine, none other than our guy Kevin Durant. So a fan had quote retweeted this tweet and said, bucket getters are more respected by players than other types of players, Exhibit 200. And KD, of course, replied to that and says, well, what's the object of the game?
What's the first tweet? I don't even know what that means.
It says bucket getters. Basically, he was saying like bucket getters are more respected by other bucket getters, I guess, right? And this is another exhibit of that. And then, of course, KD chimed in and was like, well, what's the object of the game? So I think he's kind of insinuating that, I think we should respect the guys who can score points more so. I want to say that's kind of what he was getting at. What you think, what you think by that statement, Antoine?
I understand what he's saying. I mean, it makes sense, but I think we talking about all time, so we got to tag winning on to that as well. When we talk about breaking down players and who's better than the other, it comes down to that.
Right.
Guys that have won at that high level. KD, we're going to obviously put over Carmelo Anthony, probably scoring and as a better player because he's won too.
Yep.
And he's MVP in the finals. He's So the body of work speaks for itself. Basketball players and people that know the game and love the game, we all respect and love Melo.
Yeah.
We all consider Melo all consider Melo one of the greatest scorers of the game. We all respect what he done, his body of work, going to New York and Denver and in college, winning the national championship.
Absolutely.
We all respect Melo's game, but when you talk about all time, it's just a couple other forwards that you put in there because they was able to win and get their team over the hump, and also still put up the same numbers too. So that's where that conversation comes in. But Melo's definitely like I like what Ash said. You want 30, 40, depending on how you want to break your numbers down in players. You do put Melo in that conversation. Yeah. But top all time, no, you can't put him in that.
Where you think he ranks among Knicks?
Top 10.
Wow.
Greatest Knicks, top 10.
Top 10.
For sure.
There's a lot of great Knicks. It's a lot of great Knicks. Yeah, Antoine, where you think he more
top
like
10.
top 10, more of a top 5? Or?
Top 5.
Top 5? Yeah. I thought you was going to give him top 5 too.
Well, because I'm thinking you got to think Bernard King, Patrick Ewing.
Walt Frazier.
Walt Frazier, that's 3 right there. Some may say Anthony Mason.
Yeah.
I think it's right here is when Melo starts to come up though.
That's why I say top 5. You know, you may be missing a name.
I'm missing I feel like I'm missing a name. I can't. Not Allen Houston. I wouldn't put him top 5.
Tiny Archibald a Nick? Was Tiny Archibald a Nick?
I think at some point I do remember him being a Knick.
I feel like he was. BC, was he a Knick?
No, I don't believe so. No.
He wasn't a Knick.
Well, who did he play for?
But you got Willis Reed.
Would you put Willis Reed?
Yeah.
He was a net.
He was a championship. The captain.
Would you put? You have Anthony Mason. You have Willis Reed. Would you put John
King?
Starks? I said Bernard King.
Starks. I was thinking Starks. I know he's a great, but I wouldn't put him in front of Melo though.
Earl the Pearl.
Oh right, yeah.
That's 5, right? That's the name I was thinking of. Earl the Pearl. That's 5.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right.
So Bernard King,
another old name.
Bernard King, Patrick Ewing, Walt Frazier, Earl the Pearl.
Then maybe Melo.
I feel like I'm missing a name before I get to Melo though.
Melo might be
right
there.
Top
maybe Melo's.
I got Willis
5.
Reed.
Willis Reed is the name I'm thinking of. That's 5.
Is he? No, I ain't. Listen,
You wouldn't put Willis Reed before Carmelo?
I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know who Willis Reed is.
that
was one name by every Knick that y'all was just naming. I don't know. So I got to do my film. I got to do some research on Willis Reed. That was the only one I don't know. But all those other dudes I know.
Maybe it's a toss up between Willis Reed and Carmelo Anthony. Maybe.
Yeah.
You forgot
Willis
Jeremy
Reed, the
Lin.
famous one, man. The limped off the court, came back on the court. You got to get your history together.
I know.
Yeah, you never said when someone pulls a Willis Reed? You never heard that saying before?
Yeah.
Is he like
Willis Reed?
You never heard somebody say they're pulling a Willis Reed? Where he limped off the court and all of a sudden he was able to come back on. He was running with no problem.
Okay, I'm seeing him now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm seeing him now.
He light skin.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Charles Oakley was a Knick too, but would you say he's top 5?
Charles Oakley.
No, he's not.
No, he's top 10.
And judging by how Willis Reed, I'm picking
like
Melo too.
Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley is top 10.
Where you put Mark Jackson at?
Nice, though.
As a Knick.
Ooh, Mark Jackson.
See? Where you put Mark Jackson at?
I mean, you had Phil Jackson too. He won a chip.
Yeah.
2?
Yeah, Phil's in there.
He won 2. That's what I'm saying. You may not be able to put Melo in top 5. There's a lot of historic Knicks, and some of them have hardware.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's why I was just like.
Stoudemire time with the Knicks was really good.
I wouldn't put Stoudemire top 5 though.
You forgot Jeremy Lin.
Get out of here. I would say Stoudemire's top 10. Maybe.
Nah.
Maybe, depending on what that list looks like.
Nah.
Maybe.
BC in the booth said you forget Jeremy Lin.
He did have a good run.
Oh, Jeremy Lin? Is he a top 10, Jeremy Lin?
Get out of here.
Jeremy Lin.
Who else played for the Knicks? Eddie Curry played for the Knicks, right?
Stop it.
He said stop.
Are you digging? You digging.
They say you digging now, huh?
I know I'm digging.
Put that shovel away, Ashley.
No. I'm just trying to. I don't know. Maybe it's a toss up between Starks and Melo for that 5th spot.
I mean, Marbury.
No, I wouldn't put Marbury top 5.
No.
Marbury top 5? No.
Not 5. No, not top 5.
No,
but
top 10?
He's definitely
He was a good Knick.
Yeah, he was
a good Knick, but I wouldn't put him top 5.
Nah,
I'd
not
put
top
him
5.
They got a lot of heat.
Top 10.
Knick knowledge over here.
I'd put him top 10. For me, it'd be a toss-up between Starks and Melo for that 5th spot because I feel like the other 4, you have to give it to Frazier, Earl the Pearl. You have to give it to Patrick Ewing. You have to...
Raymond Felton?
King.
Bernard King.
Bernard King, yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing with the Knicks is that they don't have a lot of NBA championships.
Mm-hmm.
They had some good players from time to time. This is not like the Celtics. Not like the Celtics got great players and the championship. So if we was ranking, Celtic players, it'd be totally different conversation.
Yeah, but we have history. We got Hall of Famers.
Get them, Ashley.
We got Hall of Fame. We don't have a lot of chips. We got Hall of Famers. Our guys are in the history books. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I see what you did there.
We got right. Miami may have more chips than us, but not all their players are in the history books. You only got a few of them who are gonna make history. You know what I mean?
Hey,
shout out to Mario Chalmers. He has a ring. He ain't going in no history book.
Knicks and Cowboys fan, you gotta create them excuses. You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, the Cowboys have 5 chips and multiple Hall of Famers. Have some respect. How many Hall of Famers do y'all have?
Hey,
you got a couple.
A couple. That's cute.
Who y'all got? Jason Kidd?
Who?
Jason?
Nets? Oh no, I thought you were
we're talking football.
Yeah, no,
y'all have a couple.
Defending the Nets right now.
Y'all have a couple.
We ain't got nothing
My whole
yet.
team from the '90s is in Canton, Ohio, right now. Like, have some respect.
we got LT the great.
Okay, have some respect. Sit over there.
Cowboys got good history.
Yeah.
Hey, well, moving on, guys. I got another good one for us. So, PJ Tucker.
Oh, Spreewell. I did forget Spreewell.
Spreewell?
Spreewell was a good one. Latrell Spreewell. Latrell
Shout out those Spreewell shoes again.
We was just talking about his shoes. His shoes wasn't it. But
take the shoes out of the equation.
He was it on the court, though.
I used to love hearing them say his name when he would score. Latrell
He does have like an all-time great.
Spreewell.
Yeah, he has like an all-time great name. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Latrell Spreewell.
That was actually really good, too, actually.
It's engraved in my memory.
Yeah.
That and the way they would say Carmelo Anthony's name when he would score. Carmelo Anthony. Those are the days. Those were the days.
That is all right. But no, this is actually a pretty funny one, Antoine and Ashley. So PJ Tucker was a guest on Jeff Teague's podcast Club 520, and he claimed that LeBron
Club what?
Club 520.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the name of their podcast.
Got it.
Well, Jeff Teague's podcast. And he claimed that LeBron back in 2015 was unstoppable. He and Jeff Teague agreed that was the best version of LeBron James. We got a clip where they kind of delve into this conversation. Let's take a look at it.
That was the most unstoppable LeBron James that year.
Wait, was that in Miami? That was Brian's first year back in Cleveland, right?
That was first year back in
Cleveland. I'm rolling with
That's
you.
LeBron.
That was first year?
Most unstoppable. Listen, listen. I'm telling y'all, I'm not even debating it. That LeBron was unstoppable. There's nothing.
Fuck no.
He turned that shit up.
When he went against Paul Pierce and then when he was in that Miami jersey, what year was that?
2011 or 2012?
When he went
12.
crazy on them.
12.
It had to be 12.
Nah, bro.
That nigga was retarded.
Brian first year back in Cleveland when he had the weak ass mustache and Kyrie and Kevin Love was out, he was eating.
That was the
No,
one.
he was killing.
Yeah,
listen, bro.
That was 2006.
He was showing like how like he showed the physicality that year of like niggas can't really like physically guard me. Like that was the first time I was because I thought I could guard like really guard Brian until that point, and I was like, I can't guard. Brian.
You thought you could ever guard him?
I guard Brian well, but that was like he just like he showed like
that year after the All-Star. Yeah, he was because that's when he had the 3-2. Because that's when the 3-point ball came in like heavy.
He was doing the right step. Yeah, that was that.
One of the dumbest moves in basketball. We had a game.
Buckets.
We had a game.
You can't not
Kyrie had tore his shit. I think it was that year he had tore his shit.
Oh, okay.
And we had a game, and I think I had gave Deladova like something crazy. And I told the nigga, it's gonna be a long pause. I was like, it's gonna be a long fucking night. And he was like, can you score more than me, nigga? And I was like, yeah.
Deladova told you that?
No, bro.
Oh.
I was gonna say, if Billy told you that,
He's talking about,
yeah, I'm like, look, I'll Boosie in the crowd, feel about it. Yeah. Bro, I'm like, well, you got to show me. Nigga, I averaged 18. I averaged 18 that series, man. Bro, I averaged like 38.
Oh my God,
man. I ain't had enough for Brian.
Oh
man.
my
What the fuck
God.
I was talking about.
So
Yo, I thought that Jeff Teague story was golden, yo. But LeBron James, 2015, do y'all think that was the best version of LeBron James?
2012 LeBron James was pretty badass.
Absolutely.
I'm going 2007 LeBron James. The first year they went to the finals.
Okay.
Was LeBron James was incredible. To take that team to the finals.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously we know they didn't have no success in the finals. But to take that team to the finals, LeBron James that year was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just think back, 2007, he was unbelievable. The year they went there. And I'm gonna go back to, and we could put a close second when they went to the first round. Is that the first round of the first year they went to the finals with Cleveland? When he the J.R. Smith year when he called a timeout. I'm trying to think what year that was.
So that was when he went back to Cleveland, though. You're saying, right? Like after Miami.
When he went back, after Miami.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So it was that
2014.
2014.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, those two years were like.
Yeah, Bron was in like God
the
mode.
ultimate year. Yeah, the ultimate years for me.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, it gotta be the second year, the second championship year in Miami.
So 2013.
2013, yeah. Not 2012, he was good too, but I think 2013 that year. I've talked to a lot of people offline about this conversation, and they actually brought up the same year you did too, Antoine. That first year he went to the championship with Cleveland, and I get it. Like that team had no business.
I would say 2013, 2016.
Yeah, because 2013 was the year that he was just in his bag defensively, though. That's when we learned LeBron James as a chase down blocker. That's when he was just chasing down, blocking everything. Right. I think he was at his peak athletically in those years when he was in Miami. I think that was the most athletic LeBron James that we had seen. And then once, in his second stint in Cleveland, that's when we started to see him kind of, in my opinion, go deeper into his bag. He started to develop a three-point shot. We started to see him do that a lot more.
Yeah.
So I hear you if you saying that was a good LeBron.
For me, it was 2016 Bron, and then 2012, 2013 LeBron were probably like my favorite versions of him.
Yeah.
It would be hard for me to say he was at his. I don't agree with he was at his peak in 2015 because we were seeing him do it for a few seasons before, and then we saw him do it after. So peak for me would be when he was at his highest and where he continued before he started to drop off a little. And for me, his peak started probably 2012.
Yeah, right. No, I agree.
I say 2012 through 2016, LeBron that was his peak.
Yeah, because I'm telling you
that was special.
That game, I could place myself where I was when I was watching it. When he and Kyrie had both scored 40 to keep the series alive. Was that Game 6 before Game 7? When they were going on like that, coming back down from 3-1?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe I was witnessing that.
No, I agree, but I just think offensively, when he was in his bag, that 017, he didn't have the personnel that he had. With that 07, what he was doing with that run to the finals was amazing. I know they got swept in the finals, but he was something special, man. That run, beating Detroit, and listen, man, that was special. He was special offensively.
Some would say, though, 2013, I'm going 2012, through 2016, because some would say 2013, he should have won Defensive Player of the Year.
I was gonna make that point eventually.
Like he lost that to one of the guys. No, Marc Gasol. Wasn't it?
My fault. It was Marc Gasol. Yeah.
Yeah. Like some could make an argument. Not only offensively was he dominant, but defensively he could have been Defensive Player of the Year. But Marc Gasol stole it from him.
Yeah, that was a year he could have won every award that he was nominated for.
No, he was in his bag. Yeah. Like that span of 3 years was like different.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when he turned.
I don't think I ever hated LeBron as much as I did when he was in Miami. He was just that dominant.
Yeah.
Like when he left, I was like, LeBron's cool. I like him. But in those Miami years, I could not stand him. And mind you, I was in college down here when that era was happening.
Yeah.
So like front row and center, and you couldn't escape it. Like it was everywhere. The pictures were everywhere. The billboards were everywhere. Like there were Heat jerseys everywhere. Like. Yeah. You think it's bad now. It was like on steroids back then. And it was just, as a Knicks fan, mind you, I'm fresh from New York too.
Right.
I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, it was so bad. All those those finals, I'm rooting for the Spurs and Dallas. I don't give a damn about either of those teams, but I was legit in there. Let's go Spurs. Let's go Spurs. Just because I could not have the Heat win anything. And guess what? It didn't happen.
Sure didn't.
Well, no, I was happy. I was happy.
When the Spurs got him.
I was happy when Dallas got him because I was like, yeah, suckers. Now what? You went through all that big three hoopla and you still lost. And Dirk and them were in the club with the trophy and Liv. And then
I remember that.
That was one of
I was in there that night. I was in there.
Oh my God, he got vivid memories of it. I'm
right?
Yo, yeah, but that
Sean
was.
Mary's my good friend, so I went to the game. So.
Oh.
They won and I partied with them. But yeah, I see Mark spend that couple hundred in there.
Yo, to be a part of that had to be.
I was there.
I think that was one of the best finals runs ever. Like, well, I'm speaking for Dirk.
What was the club like though, Antoine?
That's what I'm saying. Yo.
Was it like a bunch of haters in there? Like, man, we got Dallas in here.
No, they showed love. They took the stage over.
Oh, wow.
They did. I remember the photos.
Yeah, they took the stage over. And then Mark spent about $200-300 in there. They balled out.
Oh, they better love.
I mean, on a night like that.
I ain't never drunk so good for free in my life.
Hey, the Knicks fan in me was like so happy, and then they went on to 2-peat, and I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. We had just won it, so I was like, man, the year before, I'm like, but Sean's my good friend, so I had to party with him. They was mad. I was in there.
They're like, yo, come on, yo. Now you are.
You know how to go free alcohol.
Yeah, right.
Free alcohol, do it to you.
Hey, that's too funny. Hey, but I wanna talk about Jeff Teague's story. I don't know if you had caught that at the end when he said he was talking trash to LeBron James, and then LeBron James dropped 36 points per game in that series because that was when the Hawks, they were a playoff team, so Jeff Teague was on those teams.
That's what Dylan Brooks knows what that's like.
Yeah, right. So now, Antoine, I wanted to ask you, yo, have you ever been a part of a situation like that where you was talking trash but kind of bit off, a little more you can chew and it kind of backfired on you?
Yeah, early in my career, playing against the Bulls.
Ooh.
Yeah, playing against the Bulls. I went against that 3-peat, that second 3-peat.
Oof.
1-11. 1-11. I won one game out of 12.
Dang.
Yeah, and I used to always talk trash. I'll never forget. We beat them. We beat Michael them in night. We beat them in my first year. We beat them opening night. Pippen was out. I think this was the year Pippen started the season injured, and we beat him opening night. Mike told me in the hallway, "You will never beat me again." In the hallway, like after the game, told me, "You will never beat me again." I was young, man. I'm 20 years old. I'm talking all that. I'm trash. You know what I mean? I think I was like 21. We beat the Bulls. I'm from Chicago. Opening night, we beat them. I had 30. I'm feeling good. I'm talking trash. He told me we would never beat them again. 11-0 after that, buddy.
That's so crazy.
They beat us 11 straight times. No, true story. 11 straight times.
Is that not a Michael Jordan story right
there?
That
is such a Michael Jordan
story. That's such a Michael Jordan story.
What that meme is, and I took that personal.
Right. And that's Mike every single time, man. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Yo, to be able to play against Michael Jordan, that just
But it's crazy because it's one thing to like say it, right? Because we've seen that before, like the story about Grant Williams where he's like, watch you make them both. And he missed both free throws. Or like, didn't Bradley Beal one time like bet Ben Simmons in a game like 10 bands about like hitting free throws or something, and then he didn't? Like Bradley Beal told that story. Like we've seen that happen across the board. So it's one thing to talk trash and then not be able to back it up. Like, you're not going to get another. But Mike did it.
Mike talks trash. I got some. Listen, Michael.
Please, Sharon.
Pick up ball. He talks trash. We worked out this summer. He came back when he came back to the Wizards. This is old Mike now. Think about it. This is old Mike when he came back to the Wizards. Mike will tear you down. He will tear your ego down because he's about winning. He's got all the money in the world. He's won championships. He's got all MVPs. So he's got all the individual accolades to go along. And if you're not a winner, he will tear you down. So I remember just training with him and working with him. And when I finally got my championship, that was one of my first phone calls. I felt like I joined the club now. He doesn't respect you unless you're a winner.
Yeah.
That's why I think he wasn't a great owner. That's just being truthful. That's a whole nother conversation. But I just think he doesn't respect you being a winner if you're not a winner.
Wow.
And that's what he would throw in your face. You ain't never won nothing. You ain't never did nothing. He would throw that in your face every time when you playing against him. Our pickup games used to be legendary. To 7 was legendary. If you beat it, he wanted to win every game. That's how I always say everybody's the LeBron and Michael conversation. And not saying I played a lot of pickup ball with LeBron, but I've been around Michael enough. The competitive drive to win is second to none. That's why I always consider him the greatest. It's everything he does. But if you compete in pickup ball, you want to win, and you bragging and talking about that for hours after you get through playing in the summertime, we just working out, you something different. That's what makes Mike really different. He's just something different. He wants to win all the time, no matter what. And that's why I just picked up from him. But yeah, that's something different with Michael Jordan.
What's the craziest thing he's ever said to you?
Oh, Michael.
Like, what's the craziest way he's ever come at you? Like, okay, saying you'll never win anything is one thing, but like, what's the wildest thing when you sat back? You're like, damn, that kind of hurt.
Pipe down, man.
Like that kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
No, it's a lot of things he said to me. Actually, you guys, we'll talk about that off there. I got real stories, off the court stories, real stories.
That's too funny.
Not safe for work, folks.
How about this? He beat your ass on the court all day long, and then you got to go eat with him in his restaurant. You go eat with him in his restaurant. You know, we worked out the gym. He had a restaurant right next to the gym. Yeah. He owned the restaurant, so we used to go eat over at it. So he beat you, then he come feed you.
What you want?
That's polite, though. Yeah. He's from North Carolina. That's very Southern gentleman of him.
Right, hospitality. Southern hospitality. Was his food good, though? Was his food good at his restaurant?
Oh yeah.
Do they still have it? Do they still have that restaurant too?
It's only one in Chicago now, on Michigan Avenue. Okay. Michael Jordan restaurant.
What kind of food is it? Like soul food?
It's a steakhouse.
Oh, steakhouse. Yeah. Okay.
It's popping. I don't go there, but it still be packed. It's on Michigan Avenue. It's right in the mix of everything, so people still go there.
Yeah, that's like Clyde's Wine and Dine. In New York, Clyde Frazier has his restaurant, the Wine and Dive or Wine and Dine or something like that.
I'm gonna say the Wine and Dine. If that was the name of it, that would sound nice. Well, hey man, I think that's a wrap, Ashley.
Wow.
Antoine,
we finished 1:45 on the dot. That never happens, guys.
I know that was smooth.
I know what the audio department is going to be so ecstatic about that one.
Right, I know.
Let's extend it 5 minutes longer. Give them more work to do.
Right. But
I'll start singing.
Yeah. But now, Antoine, man, of course, it's a pleasure as always. We're gonna have you back on tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Well, sounds good, boss. We appreciate you.
All right.
Take it easy. Right. All right, paper route. That's it all.
Happy Hump Day, everyone.
Yeah.
Peace out, y'all.